Yo, what's up guys, Max here, helping you guys level up your game. And in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how you can improve at build fights and how you can basically start winning more of your build battles you run into in Fortnite. This video will be helpful for all skill levels. No matter how good you are, you'll still be able to benefit from this video, so do stick around. And without any further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So first of all, I just want to say that build fights will always be a relevant thing and there's no escaping it. It's a part of the game and many of us pretty much just take part in a build fight pretty much every single game, so there's no escaping it, so you do have to get good at it. So the first tip I'm actually going to be giving you guys regarding build fights is being able to track your opponent down in build fights. And this is a very important tip that I see a lot of people kind of disregard and just put in the dark and never really get to actually getting good at it, because a lot of people, they think that having quick edits and builds and fast 90s and whatnot pretty much makes you a good person to win build fights and whatnot. And that's not entirely wrong. However, those skills are pretty much additional compared to being able to track your opponent. Like you don't need to be able to be like the craziest, fastest player with your edits and builds and whatnot just to kill someone that is not that great at the game. And this is actually a thing that I see a lot of console players in particular just get wrong. Like they think that having crazy edits and builds and whatnot, like with high sensitivity, just makes them an absolute monster. But build fights are not entirely all about that, even though it is a big part of it. I'll agree. Being able to track your opponent, in my opinion, is just way more important. And I'm not saying that because I'm a hypocrite and just because I can't build fast or something. And I'm not just saying this in my favor, because I know there are people that are better than me with their builds and edits and just general mechanics and whatnot, but I actually genuinely believe that game sense in build fights especially is a more relevant thing, and you guys do have to practice tracking your opponent down. A good way to do this would be just following your opponent around whenever you can in build fights, and that's gonna come at a later tip in the video, so do watch out for that. But moving on, we're going to be talking about retakes and how important people think they are compared to how important they actually are. Retakes are not that important. You don't need to know all the phase sway and all the crazy retakes that people do just to look fancy in playground mode, even though it does look cool, I'm not gonna lie, but it's never really gonna be applied in a real game, if you know what I mean. Like in arena mode especially, retakes are not that useful. Maybe in pubs it is a bit more relevant. I'm not entirely sure because I don't do retakes much myself. All you really need to know is how to double ramp and do 90s. Really, that's what I would say. By the way, if you do know any retakes that you think are really useful, I'm not saying just completely disregard that and just never use it. If you do find retakes useful and you can actually get fast high ground with them and whatnot, and you can use it to your advantage, go ahead. I'm not stopping you from doing any retakes. All I'm saying is they're not absolutely necessary, as some people think they are. And yeah, that's about it for this tip. The next thing we're going to be talking about is linked back to finding your opponent and locating them in build fights. And this one is really important in my opinion, because it kind of lets you manipulate the fight in your favor. And basically what you can do is take advantage of having high ground or low ground, depends what what situation you're in, but you can manipulate the fight to basically take peek shots whenever you can, if that's if you are on high ground. And if you are on low ground, you can manipulate the right hand peek. You can pretty much just have the right hand peek at all times. Whenever you're low on mats or something, that's probably when you are going to be playing low ground. Not all the time necessarily, but Most of the time I do see people play in low ground when they have like close to no materials, which is a good shout, because if you have no mats, you're obviously not going to be able to keep high ground. But getting back to the point, why you can actually manipulate the fight so well is because you can take pretty much any peek shots or flick shots or whatever and get right back into cover, and that way you're going to be able to lose way less HP. And I find this tip useful against people that just overbuild like crazy, and we're going to be getting onto that as well in a second. And yeah, let's do that. Actually, if your opponent is an overbuilder and like they love to play high ground, you need to play low ground, in my opinion. This is actually my favorite way of getting kills, and what you need to do is basically shoot your opponent's builds down, and if you're able to hit them on the way when they are falling down, you need to play aggro if you have damaged them. You can pretty much shoot their walls or shoot them down over and over again, but if they are using something like brick or metal, it is obviously going to be a lot harder. So in those situations when you do actually get your overbuilder opponent low, you need to push them, you need to push up to them, instead of having to sit on low ground again, because that way you won't like let them pop any heals, and like obviously they're gonna stay low if you do actually pressure them and whatnot. And what you can pretty much do is try take their walls and go for edit plays, and this works wonders, especially if after the new patch of the coin rule that came out a couple of months ago now, actually. Damn. This tip that I'm actually going to be talking about in a second is actually one of my favorites in build fights, and I use it all the time, and I hope this one actually does help you, because it's helped me improve my build fighting skills massively, and I hope it helps you as much as it did help me. So basically what you need to be able to do in build fights is look for good angles on your opponents, especially when they are building up to you. You need to be like not afraid to take shots, because like that's the only way you're gonna damage your opponent, right? And how I actually learned how to like find the best peak shots I can possibly find in fights is by going into creative and just practicing 1v1s with my friends. And trust me, this does work wonders when you are fighting the right people that have a similar sort of skill level to you or higher. And you can basically find out like the best peak shots, especially the double ramp. When people double ramp away from you, like the double ramp I'm talking about is the one that you build below and above yourself. I know a lot of you use this in fights. A lot of good players will drop down to the side and kind of just take a pump shot that is absolutely free, and this is one of my favorite peak shots, and I do suggest you guys try it out, especially in creative while you do play with your friends, because that way you'll actually be able to practice it without having to go into games. And yeah, that's about it. There's plenty of other peak shots that you can obviously find, but I just won't get the time to obviously go over all of them in this video. There's plenty of them, and just focus on your angles when you are actually in build fights. And if you're struggling right now, this will definitely help you out. And finally, the last tip that's actually kind of self-explanatory is, if you are weak and have heals, don't carry on fighting, as it's just way more risky than popping a mini or two, as it does give you that extra health that could be able to save you if your opponent does actually get a shot on you. And this one is like this tip is extra useful in arena mode and scrims. And what you need to do is basically expand out if your opponent is trying to push you when you are healing. Just build the 1x1 and expand out maybe 2 or 3, and this way your opponent won't be able to predict which box you are healing in as easily. And a lot of pro players do actually use this tip all the time, and I'm sure some of you guys do too. But with that being said, the video does come to an end, and I want to know what videos you want to see me cover next. Leave a comment down below, and I will really appreciate it. Also, I do reply to all my comments, so you know, if you want to talk to me, get down in the comment section and leave a comment. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on for more Fortnite tutorials, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.